Doesn't matter how long you've been doing a reading, the court cards can have you second guessing yourself, especially the swords court cards. We're going to jump into these. In this video, I'm going to use my court card decoder to break down what each one of these represents and how their energy shifts when they're paired with other cards. I'm also going to pull a couple of random combinations so you can see how to actually read them together. But before we get to the Page of Swords, I want to give you a quick overview if this is the first time you're seeing the decoder in action. So it uses 3 pieces to help identify a card and the situation in a reading. First is identity. How does it represent a situation, or who does it represent? Second is the energy. Is it challenging energy? Is it positive and supporting energy? Is it helpful? And third is the action or the interaction the card has with the other cards surrounding it. So let's jump in with the Page of Swords. So the first part of the decoder is the identity. So Page of Swords, I'll pop it up on the screen so it's clear. So as a person, this would be someone who's curious, inquisitive, someone who's questioning things, someone who's maybe mentally restless and wants to get going and do things. They're always watching, gathering info and learning. They're like sponges for information. They're like the 3-year-old always asking why. And they'll Google everything before making a move because they want to see how everything is going to work out. Or it's just somebody who has a quest for knowledge, a thirst for knowledge. So if the Page of Swords represents a situation, these are new ideas popping up or needing to ask more questions about something before moving ahead. Maybe it's about a conversation you're tempted to have but haven't yet. It could also represent overthinking things a little too much. And of course, it can represent information or doing research. Now, moving to the second phase of the decoder is the energy, how it shows up positively or negatively. So on its own, the Page of Swords shows up positively with honest curiosity, sharp thinking, noticing the details, learning quickly. If it's more on the negative side of things, it could be gossip, nosiness, overthinking, jumping to conclusions. It's like soap opera material, right? But it could also be about stirring up conflict just for entertainment. So the third part of the decoder is the action or the interaction the card has. Now, before we even pull any cards, how it interacts. So if the Page of Swords is interacting with more positive cards, then the message or the answer to the question might be about sparking new ideas, having clear communication, and curious insights. If it shows up with more negative cards, it might be about overthinking, anxiety, or a mental conflict somewhere. If there's a lot of Wands cards, there could be a lot of impulsive action, impulsive conversations, half-formed ideas, things happening too quickly for the mind. When there's lots of Swords cards with it, could be double the mental energy, because Swords with Swords definitely amplifies, which can be good or bad. It depends on the question and the cards that are around it. You tired of hearing me say that yet? But it is also great for breakthroughs or overanalyzing things. So this whole sentence, it's like it's meta right now. So if the Page of Swords shows up with lots of cups, this could be maybe a struggle to connect your head and your heart. It might be overthinking feelings or even detaching from them. So let's jump in and pull some cards to go with this Page of Swords. We'll do them in pairs. So Page of Swords and Page of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. So here we have with the Two of Pentacles, if we use the decoder, identifying it as someone who is maybe juggling a few different things that have their ups and downs. The action is that they're trying to keep things balanced. So there is some movement here. And there's also the Two of Pentacles can sometimes be seen negatively, but at the same time, it really depends on the question. But paired with the Page of Swords, this could really show that there might be some overthinking. There's flip-flopping between decisions. It's like flipping a coin and you're not satisfied with the answer, so you keep flipping the coin. Another thing that comes up is rock, paper, scissors, and you're not winning. Rock crushes scissors, just so you know. So this could really show up by saying you really need to start feeling a little more inspired by the actions that you want to take. That's what I pick up intuitively for that. So the other card that fell out, it's the Ace of Swords. So if we pair the Page of Swords with the Ace of Swords, they're very similar energy. Page is a lot like aces, except they have a little more experience. And it's more than just an idea or a spark. This is something that has some validity to it. There's some experience when it comes to the page. So doubling up on this, it's like focus on that mental energy that is sending you in the right direction, because it's a double-edged sword. If you focus too much on negative things, that's going to be what seems to come about. But if you focus on positive things and be in the mindset of being proactive with things, instead of being on the defensive all the time, you're actually taking action to find solutions to things. So this can also be that, hey, that idea that you had, start taking action on it and start trusting. Sometimes somebody doesn't have enough sense to not feel confident. Someone doesn't have enough sense to be afraid of something, and that can be a good thing. Just jump in and start doing it, and you'll find out soon enough from there what your next steps should be. All right. So let's move on to the Knight of Swords. Let me find it. Okay. And I'll pop it on the screen. So as a person, the Knight of Swords is someone who is bold. As you can see, he's definitely taking his sword and rushing forward. He's very action-driven, opinionated, and maybe even a bit reckless. And this is words and thoughts as well, okay? If it was pentacles connected with this one too, then I'd say yes, there's the best or the worst of both worlds. This is someone who speaks before thinking, who rushes into decisions, and also someone who loves a debate. They don't necessarily pause, they just go for it. Now, if this showed up as a situation, it could be feeling pressured to answer quickly, could be arguments, could be intimate conversations, could be arguments, intense conversations, or speaking your mind without a filter. Could be leaping into something impulsive. As you can see, the card itself looks very impulsive. There's strong opinions. Maybe there's a need to slow down communication a little bit to let the actions catch up. Thinking before acting. All right, so let's move on to the energy part of the decoder. And this card on the positive side is someone who's brave thinking, not afraid to share their ideas. They're fearless in the face of mental challenges. They get things moving. They can speak up quickly. The ideas just flow, and they're not afraid to lead. On the negative side, again, it could be someone who's very reckless, argumentative, impatient, and can bulldoze over a conversation, sharing their own opinions above anybody else's. So the action part of the decoder is when this card is surrounded by other positive cards, this can help drive the progress, bring clarity, and cut through any confusion. If there's more negative cards with it, it could be escalating any tension, could trigger conflict or reveal what needs to be addressed, which, sometimes isn't a bad thing. Now, if this Knight of Swords shows up with a lot of wands, there's a lot of high energy action, moving fast, sometimes too fast. It depends on the card. If it shows up with other swords cards, again, it's doubling down on that energy or amplifying it. So moving fast, so intense mental battles, debates, or maybe there's a flood of ideas and you're just not sure what to do with. And don't even get me started on arguments. So if this Knight of Swords shows up with a lot of pentacles, in a reading. There might be some frustration that the progress is slow, unless it shows up with like a 10 of Pentacles, then it's showing you that things are happening quickly. But there might be pushing for shortcuts or just kind of more focused on seeing results as opposed to putting thought into the actions you take. And if the Knight of Swords shows up with a lot of Cups cards in the reading, there could be a lot of emotional detachment, or maybe too much thinking of the emotional side. Depends on the card. It could be prioritizing logic over feeling, or it might be dismissing any emotional nuance. So let's not guess at it. Let's pull a card and see how it interacts. Ooh, falling all over the place. All right. So we have the Knight of Swords and the Five of Wands. So this instantly shows conflict. As we know, the Five of Wands is showing that there's a bit of competition that's happening between people. And when we pair that with the Knight of Swords, it could be a lot of people, too many people trying to plan something. Okay. And I'm also picking up that this could show up as just you doing different actions, and they're not in alignment with the planning you've already put into place. Because I feel planning with this is part of that communication. So it really feels that whatever the question might have been with this, that this could definitely show up as something that's a little more negative and something to really kind of pay attention to. Okay, let's pull something else and pair that with the Page of Swords. This one came up in, can't remember which suit. So the Eight of Cups and the Knight of Swords. Getting more in your head about everything that you're feeling. And it's either you're walking away and you're giving up, or you don't want to face those emotions anymore. And that's what I pick up from that. We're going to leave it at that. I hope using this decoder method is making sense. Let me know in the comments. And that's it for the night. Let us go to the Queen of Swords. And I'll pop it on the screen so it's nice and clear. I'm learning. Watch my other videos. You'll see it's a little different, but hopefully the message gets through and it makes sense for you. That's the whole point of doing these, is to help you start thinking in a way that tarot makes sense for you. All right, decoder time. So the first thing we focus on is the identity of the card. Now, if this was a person, this would be someone who is wise, a wise communicator, someone who's has good perspective on things, sharp-witted, and emotionally detached when needed. She's the one who tells you the truth you didn't want to hear, but you're grateful for it later. So if this Queen of Swords represents a situation, there might be more clarity needed, and maybe it's truth over comfort. There might be about having a boundary setting conversation with somebody. It might be getting emotionally clear about what you really think or what somebody really thinks. It might be detaching from the drama to see the facts more clearly. So when this energy shows up positively, it's someone who is fair and thinks about everybody in the situation. It's emotional intelligence and awareness without needing to get caught up in drama. It cuts to the heart of the matter with grace. If it shows up negatively, it could be cold, overly critical, distant, or even using words as weapons and being very argumentative. All right, so the actions is how it interacts. If the Queen of Swords interacts with more positive cards, it's bringing clarity and wisdom, a helpful perspective. It encourages honest conversations and smart decisions. If it shows up with more negative cards, it could be exposing some truths or some boundaries have been crossed. It can feel cutting through things in a way that's kind of brutal. So if the Queen of Swords shows up with more wands in the reading, it could signify bold ideas that turn into smart actionable plans. It keeps the creative energy focused. If there's swords with it, we double down on the energy of the queen. So there could be that deep, honest analysis, sharp debates. Can also be seen as maybe overthinking or becoming emotionally detached. It depends on the cards. If the Queen of Swords shows up with more pentacles in the spread, this is definitely a thoughts and beliefs surrounding their physical world, practicalities, well-considered decisions too, if the right pentacles are there. And it doesn't waste time or resources unless we're looking at reversals. And if the Queen of Swords is surrounded by a lot more cups, it could be about balancing emotions and your thoughts. So bringing some logic in there. It can either offer healing insight or shut down vulnerability. So let's pull some cards to pair with this Queen of Swords and just see what comes up. Okay, we have the Three of Pentacles with the Queen of Swords. So when I see this Three of Pentacles, there's three people there. So there's definitely a group of people, and they all seem to be focused on doing a project. There's someone who's got the map that's planning things, and the person who's doing the work, and then there's someone else there to supervise, I guess. So when I see this paired with the Queen of Swords, this to me is really saying plan out your actions. If you plan, what's that saying? Measure twice, cut once. So you definitely want to be aware of, are all the thoughts and ideas written down? Are the T's crossed? Or the I's dotted? Because that's going to make the project go a lot smoother. That's one interpretation of that. Let's pull another card. The Hierophant, another one that came up a couple of times in this this series. So Queen of Swords with the Hierophant, it's showing somebody who is a wise counsel, and he's there and he's sharing his insights with pupils or disciples. So when it's paired with the Queen of Swords, this is somebody who really believes what he believes or they believe, no gender specific. Because the Queen, where she's focused on pointing toward the future, she's saying, this is the way it is. So to me, I see this could be seen as some rigidity somewhere where there's no gray areas. It's all black and white. It's all logical based, and it's based on fact. It's based on experience. It's based on education. So that's what I pick up from that. So there you go. Let's move on to the King of Swords. So here we go. I'll pop that on the screen. So as a person, the King of Swords represents an authority figure, someone who's a strategist. He's logical, decisive, well, masculine energy, fair but firm. This person leads with facts and principles, not feelings. So it could represent a lawyer, a judge, a coach, a boss type personality. Now, if the King of Swords represents a situation, this could be a decision that requires clear thinking and strategy. Could be negotiations, contracts, or legal matters. Now, if this was paired with the Judgment card, I definitely see that. Could be about conversations where authority, boundaries, or rules need to be upheld. And it's also about cutting through the emotions and getting to what's fair and factual. So when this King of Swords shows up energetically, the positive side of it is that wise, ethical, fair persona. Someone is in control, someone who can make the tough calls without bias and knows how to command respect. On a more negative side, this could be someone who's ruthless, controlling, or emotionally unavailable, or someone who uses their intellect to manipulate things. Now, if the King of Swords shows up with more positive cards in a reading, it can show good leadership, sound judgment, decisive action. It can elevate the situation with clarity and authority. If it's surrounded by more negative cards, it can expose corruption, power struggles, or reveal where logic is overpowering the heart. If the King of Swords shows up with a lot of wands in a reading, it can put bold ideas into strategic action. It's about knowing when to act and knowing when to wait. If there's more swords, it's doubling down on that intellect energy. Could be a lot of intense mental focus. Could be leadership in some intellectual matters, or just taking charge of a conflict. If there's more pentacles involved in the reading, it could be about taking or making calculated and practical decisions. It's excellent for business, legal matters, or tough negotiations. And if there's a lot of cups cards surrounding it, could be about emotional decisions or emotionally distant. It could be about prioritizing your head over your heart. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's damaging. So let's pull a card to pair with it. We have the 9 of Wands. So when we pair these two together, this is showing that even though you might have been through a lot, and this is the sign of nearing the end, you've been through a battle, but there's still more that needs to happen. There's still rest while you can, because there's more action needed. So with the King of Swords involved, this is just saying, trust what you already know. You can get through it. I feel like this is just a simple message to say, you got this. You can do it. It could also, if it came up in reverse, could be the opposite, saying, you're thinking yourself into a hole. Don't do it. All right, let's pull something else. Ooh, Ace of Wands. So the Ace of Wands and the King of Swords, this is the spark of something great. And I love this pairing because he's also holding a very sharp wand. And it's showing that he knows the direction he needs to go. He's not going to waver from his plans. He's been strategic. He trusts his experiences, and he's got this spark of action to guide him forward. I don't see a negative message in this at all. I think that fits really well together. Well, there you have it for the court cards for the swords. If you want to learn how to get more out of your tarot deck and these videos that I'm sharing with you for free, you can download my Digital Tarot Playbook. It's only $9 Canadian. It's a hybrid journal reference guide. It's got spreads for all occasions, the moon phases, questions you might have. There's a place for you to actually write things down so you can put your spin on the tarot cards. It's just a great way to really integrate what you're learning so you don't have to just memorize things. I'll pop a link in the description, and be sure to check out the other Learning Tarot videos, and we'll see you in another video. Peace.